After the wedding incident, something changed in the village. People stopped greeting Nkem warmly. When she walked past, conversations would pause. Eyes would follow her. Then people would shake their heads and continue talking in low voices. The market women no longer called out to her, "Nkem, come and buy fresh tomatoes." They used to say this before. Now, they simply watched her pass in silence. Even children seemed to sense something. They no longer ran to her asking for sweets like they did when she first returned. Nkem pretended not to notice. She told herself she didn't care what villagers thought. But loneliness is a heavy load to carry alone. Her father barely spoke to her anymore. During meals, he would eat in silence, his face hard like stone. Once, Nkem tried to explain, "Papa, I didn't mean to embarrass you, I just..." Her father put down his spoon and looked at her. "You didn't mean to embarrass me. Nkem, you embarrassed yourself. You took a good man's dignity and threw it in the mud like rubbish. And for what? Because he works with his hands? Because he farms? Who do you think grows the food you eat? Where do you think wealth comes from if not from the land? Papa, I went to university. I studied hard. I cannot just marry any what? Any honest man? Any hardworking man?" Her father's voice rose. "Let me tell you something, my daughter. I am also a farmer. Your grandfather was a farmer. The food that sent you to that university came from this soil you now despise. You have education, yes, but you have forgotten wisdom. And a perfume without wisdom is like a bird without wings. They cannot fly, they can only fall." He stood up and left the table. Nkem's mother touched her shoulder gently. "My daughter, please apologize to that young man. Go to his house and ask for forgiveness. Your father is right. What you did was wrong." "But Mama, I cannot go and apologize to a village farmer. What will people say?" Her mother's face became sad. "People are already talking, Nkem. They are already saying plenty. An apology will not make it worse, but your continued pride will destroy you completely." Nkem said nothing. She went to her room and locked the door. 2 months passed. Nkem's money from the city was finished. She had been applying for jobs online, but no one called her. Her phone credit ran out. She couldn't afford to buy new clothes. The village life she hated so much was now her only reality. One afternoon, her father called her. "Nkem, come, sit down. We need to talk." She sat down, sensing something serious. Her father took a deep breath. "I've been feeling weak for some time now. Last week, I went to the health center. The nurse said my blood pressure is very high. They want me to go to the big hospital in the city for tests. But..." He paused. "I don't have enough money." How much do you need?" 50,000 naira for the tests and medication." 50,000? It was not a huge amount, but in the village it might as well have been 1,000,000. "Papa, I don't have that kind of money. Everything I had is finished." "I know. That's why I've been asking people in the village if they can lend me. But..." His voice became bitter. "After what happened at the wedding, people are not as willing to help as before. They say, 'Maziokafo, your daughter thinks we are beneath her. Maybe you should ask her city friends for help.'" Nkem felt like someone had poured cold water on her. "Papa, I'm sorry. I didn't know it would affect you like this." Every seed produces fruit. Good seeds, good fruit. Bad seeds, bad fruit. You planted bad seeds with your mouth. Now we are eating the bitter fruit together. That night, Nkem couldn't sleep. She thought about her father's face, the disappointment, the pain. She thought about the village people who now looked at her with cold eyes. She thought about Obinna, the way he walked away with quiet dignity while she remained there surrounded by silence. Morning came with bad news. Her father collapsed while walking on the farm. The neighbors carried him home. He was breathing, but he was weak, very weak. The village nurse came and checked him. She shook her head. "He needs to go to the hospital immediately. This is serious." Nkem's mother was crying, "But we don't have money. What will we do?" Nkem stood there, helpless. All her education, all her pride, all her big grammar, none of it could save her father now. Then, something happened that Nkem would never forget. There was a knock on the door. When they opened it, Obinna stood there. He was holding an envelope. "Mama," he said to Nkem's mother, "I hear that Papa is sick. I know hospital is expensive. Please take this. It's not much, but it should help with the tests." Nkem's mother opened the envelope. Inside was 60,000 naira. She gasped, "Obinna, this is too much. How did you—" "Don't worry about how. Mama needs help. That's what matters. Please use it to take him to the hospital." Nkem's mother began to cry harder, but this time from gratitude. "God will bless you, my son. God will bless you." Obinna nodded. Then his eyes briefly met Nkem's. There was no anger in his eyes, no bitterness, just kindness. He turned to leave. "Wait." Nkem's voice came out broken. "Obinna, wait." He stopped. She walked towards him, her legs shaking. For the first time in months, tears filled her eyes. I'm sorry. I was sorry for what I said to you. You didn't deserve that. You were just being kind, and I was wicked. I was proud and foolish and blind. Please forgive me." Her voice broke completely. She covered her face with her hands and began to cry, really cry, not small tears, but deep sobs that came from a place of true shame. Obinna stood there quietly. Then he spoke, his voice gentle. "Sister Nkem, I forgave you that same day. A person who cannot forgive is a person carrying a heavy load. I chose to put down that load immediately." He paused. "But you're still carrying yours, the load of pride. Until you put it down completely, you will never find peace." He nodded respectfully and walked away. Nkem stood there, watching him go. The man she insulted, the man she called beneath her, the man who just saved her father's life. And in that moment, something inside her broke. Not her pride, that was already broken. What broke was the wall she had built around her heart, the wall that said, "I am better than everyone else." That wall came crashing down. They took her father to the hospital that evening. The doctors ran tests, they gave him medication. He would need to rest for many weeks, but he would survive. When they returned to the village 3 days later, Nkem's father held his hand weakly. "Did you thank Obinna?" he asked. "Yes, Papa, many times." "Good. That young man, he has something that money cannot buy. He has a good heart." Nkem, his father looked at her closely. "Do you see it now? Do you see what real value looks like?" Nkem nodded, tears rolling down her face. "Yes, Papa, I see it now. I was blind before, but now I see." Her father squeezed her hand gently and closed his eyes to rest. Outside the window, the village was coming alive with evening sounds. Women were cooking, children were playing, men were returning from the farms. The same village Nkem once despised now looked different to her eyes. Not because the village had changed, because she had begun to change. But change is not easy, and the road to redemption is long and hard. Nkem's journey was just beginning. 6 months passed. Nkem was not the same person anymore. Every morning, she woke up early, without complaining. She fetched water from the well, and her hands no longer hurt. She helped her mother cook. She swept the compound. She greeted elders properly, kneeling down the way she was taught as a child. Slowly, the village began to forgive her. The market women started calling out to her again, "Nkem, come, let me give you extra tomatoes." Children ran to her, and she would play with them, laughing freely. Her father recovered fully. He was proud of the change he saw in his daughter. One day, Nkem decided to do something. She went to the village square where Obiagili had her provision shop. Obiageli, she said quietly, can I talk to you? Obiageli looked up, surprised. Yes? I want to apologize for everything I said, for the way I treated you. You were right. University didn't teach me to be rude. I taught myself that. Please forgive me. Obiageli stared at her for a long moment. Then she smiled. I forgave you already, Nkem. Welcome back, the real you. They hugged. Word spread quickly. Nkem has changed though, people said. She's not proud anymore. One evening, Nkem saw Obinna walking past their compound. She gathered courage and called out, Obinna! He stopped and turned. She walked to him, carrying a small basket. I cooked moi moi today. My mother said I should bring some to you, to say thank you again. Obinna smiled gently. You don't have to keep thanking me, Sister Nkem. I know, but I want to. She paused. Obinna, can I ask you something? Yes. That day, after I insulted you publicly, why did you still help my father? Why did you give us money when you had every reason to hate us? Obinna was quiet for a moment. Then he said, my mother taught me something when I was young. She said, when someone treats you badly, you have two choices. You can become like them, or you can show them something better. I chose to show you something better. Not because you deserved it, but because that's who I want to be. Tears filled Nkem's eyes again. You are a better person than I ever was. No, Obinna said kindly. I am just a person who learned his lessons early. You are learning yours now. That's okay. We all have our time. He collected the basket, nodded respectfully, and walked away. Nkem watched him go, and for the first time, she felt something she had never felt before. Respect. Pure, genuine respect for someone she once looked down upon. 3 years later, Nkem now ran a small tutorial center in the village, teaching children who couldn't afford city schools. She used her education to serve her people, not to feel superior to them. She never married Obinna. He married someone else, a quiet, humble girl from the next village. Nkem attended the wedding and celebrated with pure joy. She found her own happiness in service, in humility, in being part of the village instead of above it. One day, a young girl came to her, proud, sharp-tongued, looking down on everyone. Nkem smiled sadly. She saw herself in that girl. She sat the girl down and told her a story. A story about an arrogant girl who thought she was better than everyone until life humbled her. The girl listened carefully. When she finished, she said, remember this. Beauty fades. Education ends. Money finishes. But character, good character, that is what carries you through life. A humble heart will open more doors than a proud tongue ever will. The girl nodded slowly, something changing in her eyes. Nkem's grandmother, now very old, sat nearby, smoking her pipe. She smiled and said, a wise woman is not born wise. She becomes wise by learning from her mistakes. My granddaughter has finally become wise.